Diphuputso di supa ha re na le basebeletsi ba malapeng ba fetang milione Afrika Borwa mme bogolo ba bona ke basadi ba batho ba batsho. While other employees are protected by labor laws and afforded benefits like UIF, the domestic work industry is still loosely regulated. But why is this? Why do we still see cases where domestic workers aren't given employment contracts and registered for benefits like workers' compensation? Why are employers allowed to disregard the Labor Relations Act? We answer these questions and more on today's edition of Gender Space. Domestic workers and the impact of COIDA. That is our conversation today. Remember to join in on the topic. Kena social media platforms tsa rona hle o re jwetse hore o ikutlwa jwang ka ditaba tsena. Fela he jwalo ka kamehla here to help us break down our topic. Re na le baeti, Advocate Nthabiseng Sepanya Mogale, yana ke chairperson of the Commission for Gender Equality. Ha mmoho le Mme Eunice Dladla, yana ke Deputy General Secretary of Domestic Workers Union. Bomme ke a le amohela hle Mme Eunice, o phetse hantle mme?
Ke phetse ngwana ka wena o kae?
Ha monate, Mme Sepanya Mogale o a phela?
Ntse ke phela.
Ke a leboha Advocate. Advocate, ha re hle re kene ditabeng. The Commission for Gender Equality le mandate wa yona. A ko re hlalosetsa hantle hore mosebetsi wa CGE ke.
Okay, Commission for Gender Equality mandate wa yona uri organization ke we are the organization that have been set up by the Constitution to strengthen our democracy. Ho chong hore the drafters of the Constitution were aware hore re na le Constitution re batla ho ba le democracy, but how then do we ensure hore batho are not moving away from the values and vision ya Constitution ena? Ke ka mo he hule ho set up wa Gender Commission hore e tla shebana le ditokelo tsa tikano ya bomme le bontate. Ho tla ba le Human Rights Commission e tla shebana ditokelo tse ding that are not covered here. Ho tla ba le Auditor General ya tla shebang hore ditjhelete tsa setjhaba di sebediswa ka tsela e di tlamehile di sebetse ka yona. Ho tla ba le IEC e tla shebang hore ho be le dikgetho from time to time, dikgetho tseno di be free and fair. Yes.
Nna ke ne pile ke re ke di chapter 9.
Ke di chapter 9.
Ha re di hula gala ka pelenyana.
Yes.
Di chapter 9. Jwale gender inequality e batla e namme haholo setjhabeng sa rona.
Yes.
We see it every day.
Yes.
What are the challenges that the CGE has identified?
Okay. What's about we beile hantle ha hore e namme ka hobane gender inequality, the basis of it is patriarchy. So borona ba rona jwalo ka re le setjhaba, the basis of it is gender inequality. Culture preaches gender inequality. Religion preaches gender equality. Education preaches gender equality. The fact that utlati batu kibo batu babo me abaye nursing, babo ntate habatle kwana batlo etsa engineering, that in itself. So it embedded haholo patriarchy in gender equality. Every sector ya society ya rona e experience gender inequality. Kika ho every time rona batu ba Gender Commission re mandate wa rona is the biggest ho feta di chapter 9 kaofela.
Sure. Me ha o bua ka tabena ya patriarchy, boemo bo eleng hore bogolo bo nahana hore banna ke dihloho, banna ke baetapele, banna ke bona ba tshwantse ba etse mesebetsi ho tla thwe kotsi.
Yes.
Basadi bona ba ske ba kena. A ko re jwetse jwalo ka ha commission e le teng, e etsa eng ho netefatsa hore tekatekano ena ya bong e ba ntho e re bonang e phela?
The first one ke public education. More rutang batho hore ha hona tlhekefetso e tlameile batho ba e fumane bakeng sa hore ke batho ba bomme kapa jwalo jwalo. Basis ya rona re bea mane ho chapter 9 ho section 9(3) of the Constitution. Airing no one must be discriminated against based on their gender, their sex, orientation, their age, their health, disability, all of those detained money which section 9(3) of the Constitution. So re beamo re tlohe ha re qeta public education re etse ntho tse ngata, one of which ke litigation. mo re bonang gore ho bile le discrimination e itseng re a kena re a khotla ho lo lwantsha discrimination eo ke ka ho re bileng ra kena tabeng ya di-domestic workers ra lwantsha COIDA ka hobane COIDA ena e ne re everybody ya le malang a le mosebetsing o na le hona hore a ka ya Department of Labour a tsama a ilo claima hore o lemetse a tsama ilo claima hore o disabled e ka baka la mosebetsi a o etsang empa e ne sile di-domestic ka morao e sile batho ba sebetsang ka di-gardening ka morao ra kena mo rona gender commission re this is discriminatory ka bane le a tseba boholo if not all ya di-domestic workers ke batho ba bomme ke batho ba batsho so it was a classic discrimination ya women against a benefit e leng hore ya tlameha hore e etsahale
mme Eunice ke kopa o ko re hlalosetse ke eng COIDA ena mme ho ya ka wena nna basebeletsi ba malapeng di-domestic workers do you think by understand that taba e ya COIDA?
Thank you very much, Tasa. This COIDA, most of basebetsi ba sebetsang mo malapeng ha ba understand hantle. Not only them alone, even us rona re berekang ka hare mo officing ha re so understand hantle. That is why re batla hore re create the workshops most of the time. But bona ba bereki, they are worse, they don't understand it at all. Etsa jwang o tshwanetse ke hore ke complain neng jwang ha ba tsebe le hore ha o lemetse tshwantse hore o qhubeke usebenze noma ungasasebenzi ulinde what the doctor says ukuthi you cannot work until such time when you feel better or how many weeks you have to stay at home.
Other than taba hore ha ba tsebe ka COIDA, what other injustices do they suffer at the hands of their employers?
It's a lot.
Haibo.
It's a lot. As the Ribua we were talking about COIDA. You'll find that some workers, they are just far behind by UIF. They are not registered in a UIF. They don't know what is UIF, what does it mean. And the employers, they don't want to comply to these laws and they don't care. And workers are afraid most of the time because ha thoma o bua ka di rights tsa gagwe wa kubiwa ba re wena o bonagala gare you know a lot. The best thing is for you to leave. And that is why domestic workers always, most of the time, are the last workers to be recognized when they are doing they are going back to the scales of how much a worker can be increased about. And then domestic workers are the last to be seen, because of course we are the last to be seen by the law itself.
Sure.
And employers are worse. So then workers sometimes, as we are educate them about all their rights in the offices every now and then, but they are afraid to practice that law.
Kannete, it's a shame to witness Black women being exploited on such a scale. Fela he, ke thabile hobane ka jeno re bua ka yona tabena ho bolelang hore ho na le mo re yang teng. Stay tuned because we continue to talk domestic workers after the break. Re tlo sheba hantle hore COIDA ena ke eng and what impact does it have on them. O ska ba sutha. Ote. Welcome back to Gender Space, the show that explores all things gender equality. Naketwasa, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. Remember that you can lodge a legal complaint with the CGE by calling our hotline on 0800 00 7709. Or you can send your complaint by email on genderenquiries@cge.org.za. Dipuisano tsa kajeno ehlile re shebana le taba ena ya domestic workers and the impact COIDA has had on their industry. Hopola hore ke na le baeti kwano be leng hore re tswella pele ho buisana le bona. Ke gola ke tle ho wena mme re bue le wena chairperson re hle re kene taba hore as the CGE, do you think there are other industries or sectors that need the same legislation to protect the gender rights of workers?
I think the sector kaofela di na le melao. Bothata se bole mona more the employers ignore melao eo. In fact, domestic workers and gardeners were the people who were left out. The rest of the other sectors are covered. However, when you look at farm workers, there are still those farm workers who are still to this day don't have decent accommodation. They're still paid by the DOP system. So there is the disregard that continues to the employers haholo hore the employers tsaka, the employees tsaka di tswa kae, di dula kae, hore ba be ba tle kwano, ba travel kae, ba etsa jwang, nobody cares. So it teng melao e governor, but ha e kgathallwe. It continues to be ignored.
Ke kopa ho utlwisisa fela hore responsibility ya employer ke eng haholo maelana le tabe ya COIDA?
Okay. Number one, ho shebana le taba ya employer ya COIDA ke hore employer e tlamehile e register, e tlamehile. It's not a choice. E tlamehile e register the employees tsa yona. Ha e qeta ho di register kgwedi le kgwedi ya patala something towards this fund. Ha ho ba le an injury or a disease that has been acquired as a result of this occupation, o tlamehile o compensate. So ke compensation of injury and disease act. So ha se injury fail. E batho ba tlamehile by hopole ke injury and disease. So people who acquire body TB into jwalo, it's part of COIDA. Farm workers who end up kabodi arthritis in domestic workers who end up kabodi arthritis. Hona jwale South Africa se ona le ntwe bitswang domestic workers ni. Ka ba bonkgono ba rona ha ba khutlela hae mangwela sa soteile a itse ke ho ba ntse ba koropa for 30 years ba etsa. All of those things are supposed to be covered. Ke disease as a result of. So COIDA, it's injury and disease.
Me Eunice ke tle ho wena ke batla ho utlwisisa fela fa nako le tshwanelang hore le rute basebeletsi bana ba malapeng when you need now to educate your members, do you find that you have access to them for them to be empowered with the knowledge ya hore there is this law that now protects you and there are these benefits that you can now get?
Lucky enough, SATSAO, Domestic Workers Union, every Saturday we got 2 to 3 hours where we educate our workers about their rights. And then that is where COIDA again gets in. They need to know ukuthi now if balimetse or ba lwala ba lwalela msebetsing tshwantse hore ba kreye to be compensated. So he re na le nako le bona ka di Saturdays, every Saturday we are in the office trying to assist them.
How and where can domestic workers claim for compensation? How ho etsahala hore o lemetse kapa wa kula mme taba tsena tsa hae are protected ka tlasa molao?
They can come to the offices where we can assist them hore ba tsebe hore tshwantse hore o ye ko labor o tshwere eng le eng so that ba tlonka your case properly. So ba tla mo officing o member or a member as long with domestic worker. Itla mo officing o tlo sho hore o etsahetseng ka wena, and then rona he re tla kopantsha le Department of Labor where you will lay your charges if there are charges.
Chairperson, ke khutlele ho wena. What is the CGE's view of gender equality policies in South Africa?
The gender policy tsa South Africa di teng. Ke tla o jwetsa why ke re di teng ka hobane section 9.3 jwalo ka se ke tjholo, it covers extensively. It covers nobody has a right to be discriminated against based on disease evanang leona, a pregnancy in it. So in essay looking ahead, it's a coverile body HIV libo ing. So that is why it was easy for habat to discriminate you. Whoa, you are transgressing 9.3. Utlohe hu 9.3 ukene hu 9.4. 9.4 is anybody who discriminates against me law ela ehu 9.3 is committing an offense. Utlohe mo uye hu 10. 10 is everybody has a right to dignity. So who ngata ho saying holy in a place. But pele ufihla hu 9. 7, section 7 of the Constitution. 7.2 in particular, the state must respect, protect, and promote the rights. Tsena tse re di buang le tsela tsa bo education le tsa bo kaofela tse leng teng constitution. Hore as jigi had negotiable, the state must.
Sure.
You see, so hochong hore the failures are actually where it is the state that is failing to live up to the must. High negotiable. Hamla or must or hahu negotiable. Impa look at the violations telling day.
I know, right to the wana gajen, rekeni school. Remember hore luena re ka utlwa maikutlo a hao o ka kenela dipuisano tsena ka ho etsa bonnete ba hore wa re jwetsa di social platforms tsa rona hore di fihla jwang hona taba tse na o na le dipotso re jwetse. Let's take a quick breather before we commence with the topic ka mora mona titi ote.
I am from Orbit TVET College and I am at the Brits campus. I am the campus manager for the campus. Today we had a very good session of stakeholder engagements with the Commission for Gender Equality. We had a session where now all the management of the campus as well as the Student Representative Council were part of. We learned a lot about creating space, safe space for everyone, especially in the workplace. It was a very good engagement and we are truly grateful. You know, when you listen to the engagements, you come to realize that you thought you knew more or much, and only to realize that there's still a lot to be done. So we are really trying that in future we create more awareness where people will be able to become acquainted with what the Commission is doing. And we are also trying to create a space where people will be using the boxes, maybe to throw in their suggestions, as well as whatever they want to report. And yeah, so it's a beautiful relationship that was created today and a partnership that we would wish it to be long-lasting. Thank you.
Gender Space, the talk show that explores gender equality. Nake twasa ka lena re shebana le taba ya basebeletsi ba malapeng le hore COIDA e tlisitse diphetho dife lekaleng lena la mosebetsi. The Commission for Gender Equality works with stakeholders in most of their public education programs. And the clip we've just seen is the feedback from one of the stakeholders reflecting on the impact of CGE. Remember, you can lodge a legal complaint with the CGE by calling our hotline on 0800 007709, or you can send your complaint by email to genderinquiries@cge.org.za. Pele re a gefutsong ne re bua ka taba ya ho ikobela molao. Jwale re tswella pele le baeti ba rona re shebana le tshebedisano mmoho ya banka karolo kapa bana ba ileng hore ba setlamong tabeng ena ya hore motho a ipapise le molao. Chairperson Kitle Huena, you have indicated that CGE works with stakeholders and other Chapter 9 institutions. Please tell us how this plays out. Lapeng kwana.
Every member of society out there must be our partner, must be our stakeholder. But honestly, the stakeholders saying that already exist, that we work with. Kitsona, the higher education, TVET and TVET colleges, ki the civil society organizations, ki you name it, resebetsa le bona, jwalo ka ke tsholo, anybody and everybody. Hona jwale re a very interesting relationship with traditional leaders who in the past were very anti anything that talks equality. But there has been such great movement, part of it pushes on gender equality, where even the mahosi are aware who molau uri retlamile re sebetse ka tsela tse itseng.
Mayunis ke gola ke tle ho wena. Ho ya ka mo re buang ka teng ho utlwahala hore ho tshwanela ho be le dipuisano pakeng tsa basebeletsi ba malapeng le bahiri ba bona. There must be a conversation. What kind of conversation must be had between employers and employees regarding taba e ya COIDA?
Explain to your employer uri nekimo unioning ya kabari or maybe nekimo labor department bari haki limetse tshwantse hube so liso wena e batla go tsiba msadinyana uri unregister na for this thing because o tshwanetse uri unregister. So there's no ways they must fight. Talk, explain to employee what we are teaching you in the union. Go and teach your employer what does the law says, because most of organizations they don't just talk, they talk some things which are from the law. So we need to listen each other. And as I said, respect each other.
How do you repetela puisano tsa rona, Chairperson? What should South Africans do to protect women's rights and the girls' rights?
South Africans from all quarters should look at themselves as agents of change. How le moruti kerekeng? Preach in such a way that you affirm everybody. When you are a leader and you are training people to take over and to come in and be leaders after you, look at those kinds of things. Where are the young girls? Where are the young boys? Let me take them along. How linda tekala being? You don't have to have the final say. You don't have to be correct. You have got more ahisan, you've got a friend, you've got a partner, sebedi sanang, because that is where the tension comes in, where people actually think, no, ki even nakiling correct, and that is, it filters down to hore ha motho a fellwa ke mosebetsi se ho senyeha ka tlung ka re ke monna jwang a sa sebetsing in, you know, whereas ha le shebane hore re a thusana re hodisa bana together, we're bringing the bacon together, re tlo tswella pele, those tensions can be taken away. So each and every one of us o tlameile a itshebe as an agent of change.
You heard it from the experts. It sounds to me like victory is a possibility. Unfortunately, we've used up all our time. Hey, fellows, gender equality related topics are coming again next week right here on Dumisa TV, channel 340. Until then, hi, Bebro.